Big up to the whole Universatile Music crew. Thank you both to Universatile Music and the Blunt Club for your sponsorship of On the Flip Side Radio.
Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to On the Flip Side. This is your host, Catalyst. Got a great show today, featuring a longtime friend of mine named Lloyd Hopkins. Hood Famous was his original track back in '97. He's now the CEO of the $1 Million Teacher Project, for which I was a recipient. And we're going to be talking to him here momentarily. So he's checking in right now. So let's all welcome Mr. Lloyd Hopkins to On the Flip Side.
Like with the pandemic and everything that's going on, man, like we got to really make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And yesterday, things just kind of caught up with me, man, because we were, and that's why I first got to thank you for your patience and you being willing to reschedule and all that, because it was, so I was going through anxiety and didn't even really realize it, you know, like I was, like I felt all right, I didn't feel stressed out. But these past couple months have just kind of been a whirlwind, and I think it all came crashing down. And luckily, I had a personal care physician and was able to go see my doctor and kind of get everything worked out and all that kind of stuff. So we got to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, taking care of our mental health, our physical health. I just think that's important, man. And I think 2020 has been as great a sign as any. So I just want to start off with that message to anybody that watches this, especially, you know, rappers, and we in the hip hop community, and we put so much effort into kind of exterior things to look successful, but in order to really be successful, we got to feel good inside, you know. So that's just the most important thing, man. So I just wanted to kind of kick off with that message. Yeah. I am in the parking lot. My daughter has her gymnastics meet. So I'm also a family man. So we're balancing both acts, man. But I was excited to talk to you for a number of reasons, because how you were one of my first interviews, man, when I dropped King of AZ back in the day, and you've always supported me and my career and in all forms of what I've done, man. So this is really like a full circle moment for me, because you're so much about the culture, and so in more ways than one. And I think you should be elevated and celebrated a lot more, you know. So I wanted to make sure I hopped on here and gave you your flowers and your roses for the platform you've always tried to give to local artists, emerging talent, people out here trying to impact the community, and you're continuing to do that, man. So it's fantastic. It's fantastic to be here. Like, we go back 15 years. When was when you were at the Blaze at the radio? How long ago was that?
Very good. Well, thank you first for the praise. I appreciate that. Our paths crossed at the Blaze when I was just starting out at Arizona State University, for which you graduated from ASU as well.
Yeah.
That was in 1997. That was when I had my very first radio show. So that's over 20 years ago. Now, to follow up on that, I was new to Arizona, Lloyd, and so I was trying to find my way coming from the Bay Area, and, you know, throwing up the W and representing Too Short and Tupac. And so when I showed up here in Arizona, I was that guy. You know, I was the man representing hard when nobody was around. Yeah. I felt hood famous, and when our paths crossed in '97, your song Hood Famous to me was an anthem. And then 20 years later, you would support me as a teacher when I was working at Alhambra with the $1 Million Teacher Project. So we've both been very busy, and we have about 20 years to kind of catch up on within the next half hour, which I'm very
a lot of evolution, man, a lot of evolution and growth. And what's funny about it is that, like, we were literally like 17, 18, 19 years old, you know, and Kanye has this line in his song Ghost Town, where he says, we're still the kids we used to be. And the reason why that really stands out to me is that I don't necessarily, like, people say people change, right? And we change I don't really think we change. I think we evolve. And I think we become greater versions of ourselves as we journey through the world, and we learn more and we gain more wisdom. We shed away a lot of our bad habits and we learn better how to highlight our good habits. So I think we evolve. So I think it makes sense, man, of the full circle that we've taken, because I think that we've both evolved in our journey. You know, we've both learned more about ourselves and what we want to mean to the world. Yeah. And $1 Million Teacher Project is really a manifestation of that. Because what I learned probably 10 years ago, man, when I really kind of stepped away from the music and I started transitioning, and I may have stepped away from the music earlier than I should have. You know, I still think I have something to say, but the passion wasn't really there, right? And part of it was I wasn't making the type of money to justify the headache and the lifestyle. I really started getting serious about my relationship and being a family man, and at a certain point it wasn't making a whole lot of sense, man. And so I started evolving, and I started trying to really unpack and examine, okay, who do I want to be? What do I want to mean to the world? How do I want to impact my world, the community that I'm in? And a part of me shedding that skin was really realizing that Atlas, to a degree, became a facade. I was putting out this image. Like what I used to always say is give them a star. Every time they see you, give them a star. But with that, you're always putting on a show. And I really got tired of putting on a show everywhere I was at, that I wasn't able to just go into a room and just be me. Like I was always trying to put on a show. I was trying to act like I was Jay-Z, and I had none of Jay-Z's success. I was trying to look like Jay-Z. I didn't have none of Jay-Z's money. And that became very exhausting. And so I went through this journey of really trying to figure out my authentic self. And what I learned was I'm really passionate about community impact. And music was really just a vehicle for me to figure out how to impact the community. Because at that time, I thought the only way you could be a philanthropist, the only way you could really change the world is if you're a celebrity. That if I become a celebrity, then I can change the world. My first goal was to save me and my friends. So my friends, we all come from the hood, single parent households. We were getting arrested. You know, we didn't really see a lot of avenues out to a better life. And so I was doing music. I was passionate about music, but what was really driving me was survival. You know, survival and trying to put me and my friends in a position that we could live the American dream, that we could get out of this world, get out of life what we were promised. And I thought the only way I could do that is, like Biggie said, you either sell rocks or you got a wicked jump shot, or you spit in bars. You know, like those were the only avenues that were really presented or we thought were realistic to a young black man. And so I kind of became a statistic of that mindset, you know, not really realizing how big the world was for me. And so I thought that was my only avenue. And so what happened when I turned about 30, you know, and I think everybody kind of goes through an existential thing when you turn 30. You know, now you're growing up and you got to figure out what that looks like. And so a part of that process for me was realizing that as passionate as I was about music, I was even more passionate about empowerment, empowering communities, empowering Black and brown communities, people that look like me, making sure that they had the tools and the resources to be what they wanted to be in this world. Because if I would have blown up as a you know, a national act and made millions of dollars, I probably would have donated all of it, you know, to programs to do exactly what I'm doing now. Right. And so when I realized that is that I'm really passionate about empowerment, community, strengthening the people around me. I figured out how to channel that creative energy into something else, because I'm still very much a creative. But my creative outlet became $1 Million Teacher Project, because what I really believe is that education is the great equalizer. That if we can, that a safe and productive community is a well-educated community. A thriving community has a strong education system. Mm-hmm. So what I decided to do is take on the responsibility of being a part of making teaching in lower income communities, whether it's rural or urban, making that the destination, mm-hmm. making it exciting and attractive and improving those schools. And so what I believe is that the best way to do that and to improve schools in mass is to drive more support and resources directly to the teaching profession. Mm-hmm. Because you can put an amazing teacher in an empty parking lot and that teacher is going to make a difference. Mm-hmm. You can put a subpar teacher in a building with all the bells and whistles, all the technology, all the resources, and then they're not going to make as much a big an impact as that great teacher. Mm-hmm. Every one teacher, if we talk return on investment, every one teacher impacts the lives of 30 students on average. Yeah. That's 30 families being impacted by one teacher. Yeah. And so what I realized was that was a better use of my time and what I was really passionate about. And so I channeled that energy I was putting into music in $1 Million Teacher Project. And we were able to have that moment, last year, where, because I really admired, like, it wasn't just because of our friendship and our relationship, because at that time we really weren't even talking that much, but I admired what I saw you doing for your students. I admired the spoken word poetry elements you were bringing into your classroom. I admired how you were trying to expose your students to the world and present them a world where they had no ceilings. You know, you weren't trying to reinforce limitations, which I feel some teachers do. You know, there are some teachers that shouldn't be in the profession, and they haven't taken on that responsibility of, my job is to unlock potential. Mm-hmm. My job is to teach the student that's in front of me and help them realize how great they are. You know, because one bad teacher sets a student back 2 years in their education process, right? And so I admired what you were doing, man, and I was following you on social media, and I wanted to elevate you, you know, for the great work that you were doing, and we did that through 1 in a Million, and I was able to profile you a little bit, man. But it was truly because I respected and admired your approach to teaching and education, man. So this is all just been kind of a surreal moment, but it fills me up, like truly fills me up. I get up every day doing what fills me up, and what I try to tell folks is, it's much better making a living being your authentic self. Uh-huh. Every dollar that you make, when you can wake up being your authentic self, being who you are, I don't code switch anymore. You know, so there used to be three me's. There was the me I was at home with my family. There was Atlas, that I was out in the music community. And there was Lloyd, who I was at work. And that also becomes exhausting, being all these different people and talking different. And so when I decided to step on this journey, a part of that was I want to walk into every room my authentic self. Uh-huh. And with that, I understand that I'm not going to be for everybody. That doesn't mean I'm going to get along with everybody. That doesn't mean everybody's going to get along with me. But what I am going to attract the right type of energy that enhances and elevates who I am as a person. And every dollar you make being your authentic self is 10 times greater than a dollar you make being somebody else. You know, and I got tired of putting on that facade, man. So you're getting, and not that I wasn't the authentic me when I was in like when we first met, but now it's a more refined version of that with a deeper understanding of my voice and who I am and what I'm trying to accomplish.